Welcome to Doc's Download, the podcast edition, where real conversations meet real Buckeye life. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Shivers, Senior Vice President for Student Life, and better known as Doc, here to bring you stories, strategies, and a few laughs along the way. Whether you're a brand new Buckeye or a seasoned one, consider this your all-access pass to tips, truths, and triumphs straight from the heart of campus. Let's dive in, everybody. Hey, Buckeye Nation. Welcome back to Doc's Download, the podcast edition, where stories, strategy, and student success really meet and really help to invigorate and encourage our community to really focus on all things Ohio State. I am your host, Melissa Shivers, better known as Doc. Today, we are diving into a topic that is incredibly important to the Buckeye experience and truly really impacts every Buckeye at some point during their time here at Ohio State. And that's the focus on mental health and wellness. Whether you're adjusting to campus life, navigating academics, or dealing with something deeply personal, your well-being matters, and you do not have to go through it alone. This episode is called Mental Health Matters, Breaking the Stigma and Knowing Your Resources. And to help us unpack it, I am joined by three fantastic, amazing members of the Ohio State community. First up is Dr. Micky Sharma. Micky serves as our Senior Director of Counseling and Consultation Service. Welcome, Micky.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We're very excited that you're here. We're also joined by Julia Darr. Julia is one of our student wellness coaches here at Ohio State. Hello, Julia. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Doc. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Of course, of course. And last but certainly not least, we have Britton Wilson, who is an RA, a resident advisor, who has been making a difference in our residence halls. Britton, thank you so much for joining us.
It's so wonderful to be here. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. So let's jump into it. Micky, let's start from a big picture perspective. Julia and Britton, please feel free to join in. You all engage with students in so many different ways through the work that you do individually, but also certainly because you are a part of larger teams that impact the student experience. What are some of the things? We're into week 2 of classes. What are some of the things that each of you are really noticing relative to mental health to our students? What's that climate look like right now? Micky, we'll start with you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. And so I think that climate and what we can see with students, certainly our new students, incoming first-year students, all the way through our graduate and professional students, is that sense of at times feeling overwhelmed. Excuse me. A lot of times we toss around words like anxiety or stress, but I like to say overwhelmed because even positive change, coming to Ohio State, coming to higher education is a good thing. It's a positive and it's an exciting transition in one's life, but that can add stress to one's life. And that stress that happens, it's okay. But what I want students to always watch for is when might you be feeling overwhelmed? And that overwhelm, when people have too much stress or feel overwhelmed, they can get frozen. And that can lead to procrastination, which can impact academics. It can also lead to other things that people can struggle with. But keeping a touch on where is my level of stress, paying attention to that, because we're all going to have it, that's okay. But being mindful of when that stress seems to be creeping up too high and starts to overwhelm students. That's something that I want students to be mindful of and keep an eye out for.
How do they know if they're feeling overwhelmed? What are some of the things that you hear from students that then you say, you're overwhelmed?
So I will, first of all, as I said a moment ago, experiencing stress, normal, happens to everybody. That overwhelming piece, if you think about your life on a day-to-day basis, everybody has bad days. That's okay. But if you feel like most days are a struggle, or I'm feeling kind of down, or I'm feeling stressed, and I can't get myself back up, that's the place to be concerned about and to reach out and use some of the resources on campus. When I feel like I just can't bounce back, and the stress seems to be driving the train. That's what I want students to watch for.
Thank you. That's incredibly helpful. And Britton, I want to pop over to you because as a resident advisor, you're responsible for a floor of students, of very different students, and interacting with them at various points, some of that one-on-one, some of that during floor meetings. Talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing second week of classes and what advice have you been able to offer students at this point?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the point of being overwhelmed. I feel like especially I have a lot of first-year students on my floor, so a lot of them are either coming from out of state, especially with the dorm that I'm a resident advisor in, the demographics, it's a lot of out-of-state students. So we get a lot of people from New York, Jersey, and other places. So they're coming from pretty far away, going to a new place, a Big Ten school. It's a big adjustment. So I feel like that overwhelm is definitely something that's going on, whether that's because they're homesick and they miss their family and everyone at home. I know that that's kind of like a recurring thing. A lot of people are kind of adjusting to getting used to not being with their family or their siblings and people that they've grown up with all the time. So that's definitely been a stressor, I would feel like. And then also being a freshman, adjusting to class loads, the amount of classes you have in a day, the rigor of the classes compared to like when they were in high school. I feel like that's definitely some of the stressors that are kind of going on. And people have been reaching out, asking for resources and asking for help. So me being able to give those resources has been something that's been very important. But definitely the overwhelm of adjusting to a big city like Columbus and just not being back home with their family and friends.
Thank you for sharing that, but also thank you. One, I'm very impressed that our students are already asking for help and resources. That in itself is an excellent first step because what I think that means, Micky, is that they are more in tune with themselves and understand that they're feeling something different than perhaps they have felt before, and that it's okay to reach out and ask for help. One of the things that we love to talk about at Ohio State is that the most successful students are the ones that can raise their hand and say, I'm not doing as well as I think I could be. How can I get help? And that's a positive thing to do. That's not seen as a negative or that there's something wrong with you. It's you saying out loud, this is a problem and I want to get some support, or I am anticipating it potentially becoming a problem and I want to get support. So I'm really glad to hear that.
And I think something also great that I've seen, especially because I have so many out-of-state students, they're already building community on the floor. So they're going to things like on campus together. They're in the hallways, hanging out, playing games, doing things. So it's really great to see the community that they're building because of the lack of community they have from not being at home. So I think that that's something that I've seen that's wonderful. And I haven't even facilitated that. They facilitated that themselves, which is something that I think is really beautiful, especially when we're talking about mental health. You need a community and a village around you to help you with that. So the fact they're already building that village, I think, is a wonderful thing.
Gosh, that's exactly what I want to hear. Thank you, Britton, for sharing that. Now, Julia, you have a little bit of a different perspective. Serving as a peer wellness coach, you have the opportunity to sit down with students and to coach them and to help them. What kind of things are you seeing right now and conversations that you're having with students that come in to get support?
Yeah, so very similar things. A lot of students do feel overwhelmed with the transition to the new year. And I think it's majority like first years, of course, like it's a whole new environment for them. They've never been to a big school probably like this ever in their life. All new people, out of state, in state. It's different for all first years. But I also like to touch on too that for second years, transfer students, third years, they have a lot of things too. Like, you know, if they switched majors, like how do they navigate that? Is this a good fit? So then like we're talking to them about career wellness as one of our dimensions. Or like maybe they have the same major, but they just want to switch up their study schedule. So they want to come to us, sit down and be like, hey, I just looking for new like study tips. I want to manage my life better. Like I don't want to study for too long. I still want to have time to work out in the day and see my friends. So I think it's more like for us, we just sit down and see what their needs are and kind of make like goals around that, if that makes sense, no matter what year, like what they're going through. But I think anyone in all 4 years is allowed to be like overwhelmed. Like just because you're not a first year doesn't mean you can't come see us. And I think that's something people might think is like, well, I'm a senior. Like I should have my stuff together. Like maybe I shouldn't see a wellness coach. Maybe I just need to fight through. And I don't think that's true. You can see us at any time of the year, whenever you're starting to feel overwhelmed and whenever you want to make a change for yourself. And so that's the main thing we notice. And then also like a lot of social adjustments too, like where do I fit in? What was I like in high school? Do I want to be different? Do I want to explore new hobbies, new passions? Where can I go for those things? And so people will sit down and kind of ask us about that too. And I've helped people find like different clubs or things that they're interested in, or maybe just start new hobbies too. So kind of a lot of different stuff. But we just always want to make sure people know that you can come to us in whatever journey or whatever spot in your journey you are. So,
Julia, that's so powerful to hear, particularly the call out that any student, it's not just first-year students who may be experiencing sort of challenges as they come into a new environment, but to your excellent point, students who have been here a while who are experiencing any level of change may also need that type of support and assistance. And it's so wonderful to hear that the peer wellness coaching really provides that, and that you meet people where they are. You listen to their challenges, you listen to the things that they want to grow and learn in, and you all are able to provide them the resources to do that. I want to chase that a little bit, though, and Britton, I'll come back to you, too. I imagine we also have parents who are listening to this podcast, and they are potentially really close to their student. They live in Dublin, Ohio, or they live as far as somewhere in California, and they want to support their students' mental health and wellness. What kind of advice would you offer a parent at this point to ways that they can support their students from afar?
I would just say that I think it's really important. Like, I think students should be informed on all our resources, but I think it's also important for parents to be informed too, so you can help your student find the right fit too. Whether that's us or CCS or somewhere else, like, to be knowledgeable about all we have can be really helpful for your student, especially maybe they're struggling to find it themselves too, or struggling to ask for help. And if like the only person they feel like they can talk to at that point is their parents, like, I think it's really important that you help them find other resources too. I know it can be hard sometimes because you want to maybe just help your kid all yourself. And if you have the tools for that, like, help them as much as you can, but also like helping them find other help is good too, I think. And I saw a lot of parents over the summer when I was doing orientation. So I did thankfully have a lot of positive reactions from parents. So I think just coming in from the beginning, like at orientation, listening to us and what we have to offer, taking our resources, and maybe like reminding your students if they start to get in that mindset, if they can't remind themselves that maybe it's there. I think that's really important too. So just like from the beginning, being informed is important. And then letting your kids know that it's okay to not be okay too is really powerful to hear. So
yes, that is fantastic. Britton, anything from your perspective?
Yes. I would say I definitely agree with the getting informed thing, because also not only am I an RA, but with my recruitment host job, we work with a lot of prospective students. So there's a lot of parents already coming in asking those questions. I think that's very important. So be able to get informed on the backside helps when problems arise and your child comes to you asking for questions. You already have those resources kind of in your toolbox, especially if they aren't asking myself or other RAs in the building. It's very important that they're equipped with those tools as well. I also feel like in the same coin and on the same tone, I feel like parents would also allow their kids to be able to have self-advocacy. So I think that's also really important. Although they may have those resources, telling their student to get involved, getting those resources on their own, I think is really important, whereas they're just giving them to them. I feel like parents should definitely be knowledgeable of what we have on campus, but allowing their student to go out and find that for themselves and have that self-advocacy, because that's something that's so important, especially in your undergraduate career and beyond. So I think that's something that is a really great point as well.
Yeah, thank you. That ability to be able to advocate for yourself is a tool that you'll need your entire life. And what better way to start than here at college? Micky, I was saving you because you're also a parent and the director of counseling and consultation service. So you are wearing this hat constantly.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit, or help our parents think about how to better support their students.
Yes. So I have a son who's a senior and one who graduated in May. So I've certainly had the parent perspective as well as, my day job perspective. Both have been educational. Being a parent has been maybe even more educational in terms of learning about the student experience. But I want to underscore a point that both of you made a moment ago. So yes, we want parents to be informed, to be knowledgeable. We have a drop-in workshop just for parents once a month so they can learn about resources. It's on Zoom so parents across the country can join. It's at a time that works for our friends in California as well. The other thing is this shift, especially for parents of, first-year students, undergraduate students, the shift from parenting a high school student to parenting a college student. So when the student is here on campus, they're going to contact parent, probably by text, this problem happened. And I tell parents your response should be, what are you going to do about it? Because in high school, you may have led with solutions. And I'm saying, don't fix it. Allow the student to find the solution or how they're going to talk to their roommate about something that they're annoyed about. Let them figure that out. If they fall down in the process, help them get back up. But this is, and you were saying this a moment ago, Doc, this is teaching the skills that'll help you as a college student, but help you as you go forward in your career through life as well.
Thank you. From the voice of a parent who is living this every day. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sharma. We've talked a lot about the fact that students are seemingly a lot more engaged and are in tune with what their needs are and are not sort of afraid to ask those questions. Yet I bet there are still many students that face this stigma or have this view of acknowledging that they are having challenges or that they don't believe they are taking care of their mental health as much as they are taking care of their physical health. I would love to hear each of you talk a little bit. And Britton, we'll start with you. You're the first point of contact for many students in the residence halls. When you think about the stigma that may get in the way of allowing and encouraging students to ask for help, what do you offer them to help them to break through that, to lean in more to acknowledging that help is what they need and that is absolutely okay?
I think that's a wonderful question because I feel like a lot of residents, especially when they're going through things, and the first thing that RAs recommend is like CCS. They're like, I don't need therapy. I don't want to do anything like that. And they kind of just get defensive and scared because they never experienced that before. I think one of the first things I feel like, especially as resident advisors or even like students on campus that are a part of student organizations, it's programming. Programming is so important because it breaks that stigma inadvertently. When you do a program about mental health, it allows people to have conversations about it. You can give resources about it and it's less upfront and it feels less heavy, even though we're still addressing those issues. So I think programming is so important, whether that's floor events, on-campus events about mental health, and providing resources, maybe having CCS come and table so they can talk to them themselves instead of me kind of giving that resource. If they come to one of my events and they table for me, they can explain it probably even better than I can, and they can already upfront get those resources and feel what it would feel like to talk to someone that's a part of that program. So I feel like especially with programming and putting on events, it is so important to kind of have those conversations around mental health or do a program around mental health because it allows to destigmatize and let people be more comfortable in like dipping their toes into those resources.
Britton, you make a really great point, and what a great role model you're being in terms of saying, I may not have all the answers, but I can provide you with the folks who do. And sharing with them, here are folks from CCS and from all over campus, the Wellness Center, that can help you. You're demonstrating, I even need help. And so because I need help, I'm reaching out and leveraging the resources that we have on campus. And that's exactly what you're supposed to do. So thanks so much for taking that approach. I mean, I think it's so important for students to understand it's okay to say that they are not okay. And someone said that earlier. Julie, I think that was you. I'll give you full credit that it's this notion of it's okay to say that you're not okay. Micky, from the clinical side, how do you see or experience, or your team hear from students about the stigma and how it may get in the way of them advancing through their counseling?
So with mental health stigma, the first thing I'll say on the good side is we have seen a significant reduction in mental health stigma across time as students are more open to being in counseling. That's a positive thing. That's a win-win. And we still have, as Britton said, students who will say, I don't need therapy. Okay. So a number of you today have already talked about, reaching out when needing help. And I always tell students that's not a show of weakness. It's actually a show of strength, recognizing that you need assistance. And for students, it's giving the message that not being okay is okay. And everybody has struggle points. I think at times we'll have students who that stigma, when it becomes internalized or inside one stigma, is everybody seems okay. I'm the only one struggling. I look at what people are putting on social media. Everybody's having fun. I'm not having fun. So the reality, though, is that everybody has struggle points. So it's normalizing, giving the message. And you talked about programming, outreach events. We do outreach events across the year, tabling, presentations. 27,000 people attend our events across the year. Students come to these events, and that's a way to learn about resources. You don't have to start with therapy, but there's other ways to get support, learn about best ways to cope and manage feelings of stress, and then figure out what the right roadmap is for you.
Micky, thank you for that. I'm kind of curious because I've been now working in higher ed and specifically student affairs almost 30 years. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I started and really was participating sort of a speaker during orientation. And I remember talking about the importance of counseling service because at that time, counseling was the major sort of entree into getting support. That's what people heard about, that's what they knew about, and they felt like that was perhaps the only path. Now, it seems to me that more parents and students, and particularly our students, have been engaging in counseling services prior to even coming to Ohio State. Is that perception more accurate, and does that help us to be able to address, we have less work to do in the stigma space because so many students have already been engaged in some sort of counseling service?
Yeah, the research is clear that there are more students on campus today who've had counseling before they got to Ohio State. So I think that's a good thing for a couple reasons. Number one, it means higher education has become more of an option for more people in our society. That's a win. It also means that that stigma is reduced because people are open to receiving help as they need it. So that as an institution, the responsibility on us is just to be prepared for who our students are and make sure we have the right resources available. And yes, counseling is available, but it's looking at all the different support options. Wellness coaching is a fantastic option. Our office, wellness coaching, we've got a direct referral back and forth to ease the road for students. Not every student needs therapy. Wellness coaching oftentimes is sufficient and is enough. So it's looking at what's the right resource at that moment in time of a student's academic journey and connecting them with that.
Well, Dr. Sharma, you just did exactly what I was going to do and ask Julia. I mean, that was really impressive. Did you read my brain to know that the next thing I wanted to have happen is for Julia to talk a little bit about Julia, what do you see relative to stigma? And I love what Dr. Sharma said, is that not everything requires counseling. Not everything does. We have the 10 dimensions of wellness that your team really focuses on in understanding that students may think of mental wellness in so many different facets of their life. Talk to us a little bit about what you see and how much you have to work on the destigmatization before you can get to the actual issue.
Yeah. So a lot of it relates to what you guys have been talking about, people either not thinking they need help or want help. There's a lot of that. But I think with what makes wellness coaching maybe like a little different in this situation is that people don't know the difference between us and seeing a counselor. So they're like, why would I go to wellness coaching when I could just go see a therapist? I feel like they're better. They're doctors, psychologists, like they have their licensure. So why would I go to a student? And I think that's the one thing. And like he mentioned earlier, I think both of them can be utilized by different people depending on what your goals are, what you want to get out of it, what you need. So for us, if you're looking for like someone who's the same age as you, maybe going through similar situations, like you want a more peer-to-peer mentor situation, we're a good fit for you. We'll sit down with you. We will be a good active listener. Like we practice some counseling skills, but we do not diagnose. We're not going to dive deep into your emotions. So if that's something you want, we'll help you find CCS. But if that's something that you don't want, you just want someone to help you make goals during the year, to organize your schedule, to help you find healthy mindfulness activities to practice in your day, to find new hobbies, things like that, we're a great fit for you, and we can do all of that. So I think mostly it's just really like finding out what works for you. And if you sit down with us and we're not a good fit, like he said, we'll refer you to them, and they might refer them to us. So it's just, we'll help you find whatever is the best fit for you. So.
Well, you all have done such a really nice job of both talking about stigma and also all of the resources that are available. Dr. Sharma, when you talked about what people need in the moment, it's a just-in-time approach, I think. When students recognize, I need help on this particular issue, I imagine that in conversations with them, you may also find out that there are other things that are going on with them that you want to be able to explore. And Julie, I think about this a lot relative to spiritual wellness, and that students are coming here looking for a grounding or reaffirming the thing that has really guided them their entire life. How do I get back to that? Would you mind talking a little bit about the 10 dimensions of wellness? You don't have to give us all 10, but at least this is not a test. No pressure. I told you at the beginning, this is so relaxed and fun. And then I say, give us all 10 dimensions of wellness. That's actually not what I'm going to do. But I would love for you to talk a little bit about the 10 dimensions of wellness just generally, and how do you assess perhaps what students need in that just-in-time moment?
Yeah, for sure. So, like she mentioned, there's 10 dimensions of wellness. So we don't just think that emotional wellness or like your feelings are the only thing that affect your mental health, but also your physical wellness. So are you eating well? Are you sleeping well? Are you exercising? Your social wellness. Are you able to see your friends during the week? Do you have as much friends as you'd like? Or are you doing clubs you enjoy with your friends? Or like you said, spiritual wellness. Are you invested in some kind of religion or higher entity? Are you curious in that? Do you want to talk to someone about it? So it's a list of different things. And how we assess that is before our session with a new client or student, we'll actually send them the wellness assessment, which is like a short 10-minute test where we give you questions based on the 10 dimensions of wellness. And it'll ask questions like, kind of like I said earlier, but do you feel like you have enough time to see your friends during the week? Do you feel like you're in a safe work environment? Do you feel like you're able to communicate about your emotions properly? All kinds of different stuff. We try to touch on all of them. Financial stuff too, career stuff. And then at the end, we'll give you your score for each category in comparison to the university average. And then anything that like dips lower than the average, we'll maybe ask the student about, or maybe they already know what they want to talk about at the beginning. But usually it's a good point to start in our sessions is like, oh, we noticed your spiritual wellness is lower. Do you want to talk about maybe that was lower? Is there something that you're looking for, wanting to explore? And so it's kind of what we use to base the rest of our session off of. And we hope by the end to kind of make some goals to maybe up any of their lower scores. That's what we do.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Dr. Sharma, I want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit more about the resources that are available within CCS. What type of resources can a student expect to get from CCS?
So we operate from what we call offering multimodal resources. So there's a range of support options. What we do is we look at each student individually, what their unique needs are, and then what is the right resource for that student. So things start with us by scheduling a phone screening, which students can schedule online any time of the day. Go in, schedule that phone screening. That's going to be a 15, 20-minute call with one of our clinicians who will go through some questions with you and then develop a detailed plan of what is going to be best for you. The student's going to receive an email with 5 to 7 different support options. So everybody is going to receive that. Now, for our students who, I don't want to go to CCS, my response first is, you don't have to. It starts on the phone. schedule. You don't have to go anywhere. Take the phone call wherever you are. Number 2, we have other options that aren't therapy that are also supportive. Britton talked about outreach programming. We do programming every week. Go to one of those. Every single day, Monday through Friday, we have a drop-in workshop. Don't have to register, don't have to do paperwork. If you need credit for FYSS or STEP, you can get that. But these are 45, 60 minutes and cover the most common things that students struggle with. One of the most popular ones is beating anxiety. What is anxiety? What are the symptoms? How do you best address it? It's a way to get resources and go on your way. Another thing we have every day is called Let's Talk. Again, not therapy, with one of our clinicians, 15, 20 minutes over Zoom. So there's something I'm struggling with. I don't know if I need therapy. Let me just talk with someone about this and then can figure out where to go from there. Individual one-to-one counseling is still the biggest thing we do. We still run 20 different counseling groups, but there's a lot of different things. Last thing I'll add, because we talked earlier about homesickness. Homesickness doesn't need therapy. Wellness coaching, Let's Talk, getting involved. So sometimes the support option is just getting involved, forming community, finding your niche, and then feeling better.
That's wonderful. And Julia, the resources, I just want to make sure that we tag this for students. The resources that are provided, the peer counseling, coaching, that's free.
Yes,
for
all
students,
free.
yes?
So we have wellness coaching, obviously, and then we also have financial coaching and nutrition coaching available. And our nutrition coaching is actually with a registered dietitian, so she is completely free as well. And you can do any of these appointments as many times as you want. We're never going to charge you for it. So, yeah, that's definitely a good thing to bring up.
That's really important for us to share,
Yeah.
right? Because I imagine we may have some listeners who are saying, this is probably going to be a very expensive. And so at the end of this podcast, they're going to tell me for the low cost of $999, you too can get access to these resources. But no. They are actually free to all of our students, and they can have any number of visits. Is that right?
Yes. We want students to come in. We don't want to deter anyone, which is mostly like why it's free. And a lot of our programs and resources in the Wellness Center are free. So like we really just want to reach as many people we can and help everyone we can. So
that's fantastic. So Britton, as an RA, listen to all these resources that you have to be able to share with your residents. I mean, it's really quite impressive. What do you think are things that you can do in your role as resident advisor to provide them with this information without overwhelming them? Because this is a lot. What's available is a ton. But what are ways that you think would be helpful for you to be able to communicate this also to the residents?
I think one of the things that I definitely want to start implementing more that I haven't in the past is just establishing solidarity and connections with these other organizations on campus. So having connects to the Wellness Center, like for you with wellness coaching, be able to maybe have you come in and speak to my residents or things like that, like kind of extending the wealth and like making sure that those connections and the solidarity is so important, because without that, we wouldn't know about all these programs. I didn't know about how many things the Wellness Center had to offer until like RA development this past fall, because they had a session where we talked about wellness and I signed up for that, and they talked about all the extensive things about the Wellness Center, even like the Monda Student Resource Center that's new, that's in Yunkin, which is like a food bank that students can just sign up for an appointment and go to and get food for free. Kind of, especially the financial wellness, that's something that a lot of students struggle, even myself, struggle with the financial wellness. I was like, I might even need to sign up for a financial coach. Like these resources are not only just for my residents, but for myself. So like, I think also showing my residents that I also use these resources is also something that's really important. I feel like for me, if I was someone and someone was just talking at me or spitting resources at me, I wouldn't be receptive to that. So the fact that I want to try out some of these resources and bring that information back to my residents that, oh, I went to financial coaching, this is how it went, this is what I learned from it, may influence them to go to these appointments, schedule these things by themselves. Because I can only extend so many resources. Like you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. So I feel like having that experience of getting my feet wet with these resources, I think is going to be really important to influence my residents to want to get involved.
Thank you so much for that. And you went to a place that I wondered about, and I was going to come back and ask Dr. Sharma what he thinks about this. You know, oftentimes transparency and vulnerability are things that people are really good at or things that they just don't want to touch because they are now going to be sharing something about themselves that may feel risky or that may get in the way of the type of relationship that you're trying, a rapport that you're trying to establish with the student. Dr. Sharma, what do you think about people being transparent about utilizing these different resources as a way of encouraging their peers to also utilize them?
I think when all of us are transparent or share openly about using resources, that's a win for our campus because that fits in with establishing the culture of care and that everybody on campus can contribute to that, students, faculty, staff. When we all know about resources, we talk about resources, we refer to resources, and when comfortable talking about points in our life when we have used resources, it validates students' experiences. It normalizes what students are experiencing, and it gives the message not just of care, but seeking assistance is what you should do. Because the flip side of that, if we're giving a message of you shouldn't talk about your struggles, that's when people internalize stigma. They get quiet, they struggle, and they don't reach out for help. But when we talk about it openly, it normalizes it, and that's the win for everybody.
That's so good, Dr. Sharma. I was sharing with you all before we started that I resisted talking about counseling with my family because that just had not been a part of our life journey. That growing up in the South, you were very much connected to your spirituality and your faith, and that is where you were to seek help. And when I had the opportunity to share with my mom that I think I need to get some additional support, that was a really fascinating conversation to have with her because it's just not something that had been a part of the fabric of our family. But what it's allowed me to do as an administrator, I think, is to normalize that I have to take care of myself, you have to take care of yourself, and that is okay to do in lots of different and healthy ways. I think that there is something about that transparency and vulnerability that allows people to sort of go from high stress and anxiety of now that they're going to think something is wrong with me to hearing that someone that they know has actually had similar struggles and has been very, while not always comfortable with reaching out for help, they've found that it is really important to them in managing their own mental health that they have to acknowledge the process, right? That I also had to seek help. And now I think it allows me now to be even more vocal about the importance of mental health because I'm able to talk about how I leverage mental health support in lots of different ways to be able to show up and do this work every day, right? And you all probably find things that you need to focus on too. It's important that you are taking care of yourself. It's difficult to talk about other people taking care of themselves if you're not also doing the same thing. So, Dr. Sharma, thank you for sharing that and giving people permission to tell their story in hopes that it will help other folks.
And I would add on to what you just said a moment ago as well, which is very important, that if you're needing to have this dialogue with family or parents and you're concerned about it because maybe there's a familial or a cultural message of you shouldn't be seeking certain resources, that's going to be a challenging dialogue, and that's okay. And I recognize that that's challenging, and that's a part of, shifting in one's life in terms of how you have difficult or challenging dialogues with family and with important people, because this won't be the last time that happens. It's going to come up down the road as well. And I'm an optimist, and I believe that your parents, your family are in favor of you succeeding. And so this is about talking about this is a resource that will help me be successful. Family's not opposed to you being successful at the university. You're just talking about something that's going to help you be successful.
That's fantastic. I can't believe we're almost at the end. We could keep going on and on and on with this such an important conversation. But I want to allow each of you to be able to share what's one thing, if you want someone to take any important nugget from this podcast, what would it be? Britton, we'll start with you.
Okay. I feel like for all of us here, we are all here for a reason, whether that's being faculty, staff, a resource. Use us as a resource. We are here for a reason. We are here to give you resources to help you through your college journey, especially if you're a first year, second year, even if you're a third year or fourth year. Just because you're older does not mean that you don't need help. Like Julia said previously, I feel like we just want to make sure that everyone is comfortable with reaching out for resources because that's what we are here for. So never feel discouraged, never feel scared to reach out to your RA because they're going to be the one that has all the resources in the toolbox for you to seek. So never be afraid to talk to your resident advisor, even if it's not on your floor, on another floor, maybe even in another building. We're all here for you as a resource. So never be afraid to reach out.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Julia, good luck following that. Let me know how that works for you.
Yeah. I mean, everything you said was very good. So I'm like, But we, at the Wellness Center, at any of the resources around campus as well, I'm sure, we just want to be here for you wherever you are in your journey. And we want to help you grow no matter what that looks like, no matter what your day is that day. Like, we're here for you no matter what. And your feelings are always valid. Like, don't ever think, maybe I don't need to go to wellness coaching. Like, maybe I can just fight for myself, or maybe I don't need to go to counseling. I could just fight this out. Don't struggle alone. Like, please, just come see us. We love helping people. That's why we're all there. Like, we're literally all volunteers as well, I should add. So, like, people who are there, they want to be there. And just use us as much as you can. And if we're not the right fit, we'll help you find the right fit. But, yeah, we just want to help you be the best you that you can.
Wow, that was really good. That was really good. I think about President Carter. I report directly to President Carter. And one of the things that he always tells us as a team is do not suffer in silence. Mm-hmm. That whatever it is, bring it forward, but don't mull it over in your head because you're going to tell yourself the same story, right? Rarely are you going to get to the point of resolution. So go and seek the people that you believe can offer support. And in the context of the conversation that he's having with us, it's about him or other cabinet colleagues that we can have those frank conversations with. Just don't suffer in silence. And as soon as you said that, it made me think of what he says to us all the time, which is really powerful. And even as leaders at the university, we still need to hear that message, right? We still need to hear that. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you so much for everything that you do with your peers. I mean, it's really incredible. You and Britton are like goals for me as I continue to adult in terms of the ability to be able to engage with your peers, to provide such incredible resources. But most importantly, it's so evident to me how much you all care. And as an Ohio State community, that's really, and Dr. Sharma alluded to this earlier, this culture of care, you all embody that. And we are so fortunate that you chose to be Buckeyes and your peers. They may not know yet how lucky they are to know you, but by the end of this podcast, they will be very clear that you are the bee's knees. And we are so lucky to have you. All right, Dr. Sharma, take us home. What's that one last nugget that you want to leave out?
So we've talked and touched on different resources available and how to use those. You know, students, I would encourage you then to bring it home for yourself and to think about a couple factors. Self-care and resiliency. Focusing on those will help you be in touch with your own mental health and well-being. Self-care, easy definition, what do you do on a regular basis so you don't fall down? Resiliency, what do you do when you've fallen down to get back up? Everybody should think about those and focus on those. And if you do things regularly to take care of yourself, your mental health, so you don't fall down, you'll be more successful. College will knock you over. That's okay. When you get knocked over, what do you do to get back up? And that could be resources we talked about. That could be important people in your life. I'm not talking about suck it up and work harder. I'm talking about when you get knocked down, how do you get back up? And as you said a moment ago, learning these tools and skills today not just helps you as a successful student at the university, but wherever you go forward in your life and your career.
Dr. Sharma, I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you for being such a tremendous leader for our campus and leading our counseling and consultation service team. I think of you all often throughout the academic year, because I know that these are conversations and skills and support that you are providing our students every day. And so we are lucky to have you here at Ohio State, and you can never leave. I said that out loud for the record. He's saying yes, he agrees.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr.
There it
Sharma.
is.
You're going to leave me hanging. That was going to be awkward. So I just want to say to all of you how appreciative I am. And thank you for this very open and candid and genuine conversation that we were able to have today around a topic that can be difficult. You all normalized what it means to take care of yourselves in all kinds of ways. And for that, I feel really grateful and appreciative of how much you all give to our community. And to our listeners, just know that there are so many people here in this community that want you to be successful both inside and outside of the classroom. Our hope is to help you evolve to be the best human that you can possibly be, and that's a journey. There is no straight line to being the best human that you can possibly be, but there are so many people cheering for you, serving as advocates for you, and have the resources that are literally sitting in front of you. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's a message that we just probably want to say over and over. Don't be afraid. It's a gift that there's so many resources here for you to be supported and cared for. And if there's anything about this Ohio State community, it's that we care deeply for and with one another. And that in itself is incredible. Micky, Julia, Britton, thank you for spending time with me. This has been fantastic. And I hope that those who have listened to this podcast today are able to take away all of the lessons and the good messaging that you provided for everybody. It's really important that we continue to think critically about how we support one another. Remember, everybody, mental health and our wellness journey is not simple, and it's certainly not just sort of there's a destination that you get to. It's going to evolve, and based on what you need, and that's okay. So if you're ever feeling anxious, overwhelmed, stressed out, just want to chat, just know that there are lots of people here that want to support you, and we are very grateful for the ways that we're able to do that, and grateful that you entrust us to help support you in your journey. You all can find the links to the resources about these resources in the episode description. So please do not hesitate to reach out. That's really important to us. So until next time, I am Dr. Melissa Shivers, aka Doc, and this has been Doc's Download, the podcast edition. Stay well, Buckeyes. This program is a presentation of the Office of Student Life at The Ohio State University, recorded in the studios of WOSU Public Media. Your engineer is Dalton Jones, producers J. Randall Hicks and Matthew Swearingen, and executive producer Jen Vandemark. The views expressed are those of the host and guest and do not necessarily reflect those of the university. Join us next time for another edition of Doc's Download, the podcast.